Hi, merry meet. First of all, let me, yes, since she was around, introduce you to Maud. I had made videos with her before. She doesn't want to be held. Anyway, one of my subscribers asked me to make a video about what I thought about the concept of which is born, not made. And the question is, can anybody be a witch? And I was thinking I'll do this in basically a short answer, long answer kind of thing. For the short answer is yes, everybody can be a witch. This isn't a fantasy novel. Magic isn't something that's just for the few chosen. What we're dealing with here is using methods to harness the energies of the gods, of nature, of everything around us, using these forces to affect things in our lives and in ourselves. That's something anyone can learn to do with enough practice. Now, of course, excuse me, of course, talent does play into it. The more talented you are, the easier time you will have of it. But that doesn't mean that if you don't born with a particular talent for magic, that you can't practice it. It's like when I was a little girl, I had a friend who introduced me to a music program. I think it was named Fast Tracker. It was on the computer. And as soon as he had it installed, he was making music left and right. But then he come from musical families, very talented at it. And he made his own melodies, he made remixes, and they all sounded great. While mine not so much. But after hours on hours and hours of work, I did manage to make a melody that sounded okay. Now, of course, my friend who were musically talented could reach much farther with this program and other forms of music than I could, but that doesn't mean that I could not practice music. It's a bit the same way. Some people are very talented at magic, and they will learn easier, they will learn faster, and I guess they will reach farther. But anyone can learn to use magic, and it's also very much, I found that learning something often have less to do with what talent you're born with, and it has to do with what my teacher liked to call stick-to-itiveness, which basically means when you start a new, it be an interest, a spiritual endeavor, anything, hobby, anything, it's all new and it's exciting and all is well. But then after a while it gets to be the same old and it gets to be boring. And the trick then is to stick to it. That even when something is boring for a while, you continue to do it, you stick to it. And that gives you a much greater chance of succeeding and at learning something than you being initially born with talent. There's a lot of people who have amazing talent out there who never does anything with it. Excuse me again, allergies. But yeah, that's the short answer. Yes, anyone can learn magic, but of course some people are more talented than others. Now for the long answer. Especially when we get into the topic of religion. Now, of course, not all witchcraft is religious. Some of it is just plain magic. But when we are talking about, for example, Wicca and other forms of religious witchcraft, we are sort of moving into the dimension of the soul. And then you can ask, has the soul chosen to be born into an individual who is best suited to follow such or such spiritual path? Very often, so people go through several religions, unless they are in a family that is very locked down on one. People that go searching often pass through several religions before they find one that really feels like home. And even then, they might change that religion at a later point in their lives. And while I feel that anyone can practice any religion, I do also think that feeling that little click in your head that says, this religion, this is home, this is what it's about for me, that is very important and can lead to faster and better spiritual development than if you say just force yourself to follow your family's religion, or, well, go to a religion that doesn't give you that feeling of contentment, that feeling of this is the right thing for me. And as such, I guess you could say that some people are born for one religion or the other. Some people really feel at home within the structure of the Catholic Church. Others feel best with Shintoism. And others again seek to, for example, Wicca. That doesn't mean that unless you are feeling this click, you can't practice that religion, you can't have use of that religion. But at the same time, I think that our souls have a way of telling us, this is the religion for you. This is the religion I would choose for your spiritual development. And that often listening to those kinds of spiritual advice from ourselves is wise. So in a way then, you could say that people are born to a religion. Now, the same with, then I guess we have to go into the whole concept of family witchcraft. If you're born into a family, if that's the only way to become a witch. And again, like I said, no, anyone can become a witch. But of course, being born into a magical bloodline do give you some benefits. It's the same as, I'm a pretty crafty person. I like making things, and some things I make I'm pretty good at. And my family up through the generations has been crafty people. Two of my great-grandfathers were craftsmen. One were a master tailor, and the other, he was a bookbinder and a painter that mixed his own colors. A painter, I mean, those kind of paints walls, but he mixed his own colors and so on. Two of their sons were craftsmen. That it's a bit freaky. Both of them had accidents that made them blind, and both of them continued to practice their crafts. And for example, I've shown it in a video, this gorgeous candle holder that one of my granduncles has made. My grandfather, a tailor's son, he was a tool maker. My mother, while she is a nurse and an alternative therapist, she has a hobby of sewing and is very good at it. My grandmother was great at knitting, and I'm pretty good at craft stuff as well, so of course, could it be that I've inherited a bit of the interest and ability from my family, and also that since I've grown up in a family where we make shit, that I then naturally started to make shit myself? Yeah, that's pretty likely, so I had a better start at being a crafty person than if I were born into a family that didn't make anything. And it's the same with magic. If you're born into a family where magic is accepted, and then of course it is more natural for you to start with it. Get an earlier start, you get the benefit of people around you who love you, can give you advice. And I also think that talent within these things are inherited. My grandfather was psychic. He didn't want anything to do with it, but he was. He had a few flashes now and then, but like I said, he never developed it, didn't want anything to do with it. My mother is a healer, and has warm hands and is practicing alternative medicine. And several other members of my family have it as well. Like, we were sitting in a family event, and my great aunt passed away a few months ago, but yeah, this fine old woman sits and says, "I'm psychic." Just out of the blue. It was the last thing I expected to hear from this woman, but yeah, it's just that she comes from a generation where it's not generally talked about. So yes, do I think I have inherited a few things there? Yes, I do. But that doesn't mean that if you're not born into a magical family that you can't learn magic. It's a boon to be born into a magical family. But it doesn't guarantee that you'll be good at it, and it doesn't say that you can't be good at it if you're not born into such a family. Now, I know a lot of people say that, oh, but you have to be born a witch, you have to be born into such and such families, and so on. But usually those people do it to make themselves sound more important. So, for example, when I was a little girl, I started practicing magic when I was only 10, and this was when I was about 11 or 12 or so. I was so proud of myself. I could do magic, all was fine, I was feeling the top of the world, and I was convinced I was very special and had this amazing gift. My mother decided to poke a hole in that very quickly and said, no, everybody can learn it. I was so upset because I had felt like I was somehow special, and I think that a lot of people within the magical community have the same need to feel special, and that if anyone can pick up a book and with time and effort learn magic, they aren't special anymore, and so they fight against it. Of course, there are some people who seem to genuinely believe this, and like I said, everything I say in these videos are my opinion. Like, for example, Alison Dubois, the woman that the series Medium is based on. She has this idea that either you are born a medium or you're out of luck, you can't become a medium. And she seems to be honest about it, that's her honest belief, and I respect that. I, however, don't think it works that way. I think that anyone can start practicing. It's like I usually say when I'm arguing with atheists, I can't prove magic existence to you. But what if you just pick up a book, or even if you don't want to spend money on it, there are people who have written free books and put them out on the internet. There's a lot of free information out there. So get some information, start practicing, and see for yourself if it works. I haven't had any takers so far, but yeah. Basically, it's something anyone can learn. Now, to sum it up, yes, some people are born with a greater talent for magic than others, and of course they will then have a greater ease at learning it. Secondly, if you're born into a magical family, for example, and you have supportive people around you who believe the same things that you do, of course it will be easier to learn. And I also think that having a gift for magic is something that you can inherit. And also, yes, you can have a gift for magic, which means you will have it whether you want it or not. My grandfather did not want it. He did not want to be psychic. Didn't help. He was psychic. There was nothing he could do about it. But fourth, you don't need these things to practice magic. You can just go out and start. With patience and effort, you'll learn. And as for whatever or not you're born to it, guess that's a chicken and egg thing. Where your soul, when it decided which body to reincarnate in, is thinking, I want to practice magic this incarnation, and so it shows someone we're more likely to practice. I think that's possible. So you could say that you were born to it, but I don't really like to think that way. Some people think that everything we do, everything we are, every interest we have, every relationship we form, and so on, is pre-chosen by our soul, because they have just sown this life for themselves, this curriculum for themselves. But sort of, I don't want my life just to be some spiritual being's curriculum. I'm fine with teaching my soul things and working with it so it can learn and develop, but I don't believe in a set destiny that everything we do and say and so on are predetermined. But I do think there are generalities, meaning that, yes, someone might be a soul that wants to practice magic, might be born into someone more likely to be attracted to such things. So you could say you're born to it, but that doesn't mean that anyone who gets the desire to practice can't do it. And besides, why this theory? If you have the desire to practice magic, chances are you were born to do it. So, like I said, chicken and egg thing. So, generally I would say don't worry about it. If you want to practice witchcraft, go ahead and do it. There's nothing stopping you. You don't need to be from a special bloodline. You don't need to wait for a flappy little owl to come and deliver you a letter from Hogwarts. You pick up a book, you go to a workshop, you look up on the internet, and you start learning and you start practicing. It's as easy as that. Basically, magic is the birthright of us all. Man, women, children, animals, everyone. Because the energies used are the energies of all life. Now, when it comes to religious practice, like I said, I think that when looking for religion, you have to look for the religion that say click for you. And sometimes the religion that really clicks with you might be another one that you had hoped for, or another one than you expected. And I think it is possible to be too focused on one religion you want to practice, instead of looking for that gives you that click. But yeah, generally there's nothing wrong with practicing Wicca just because you feel like that's a good religion for you. But at the same time, there might be other religions, if you don't feel completely at home in it, there might be other religions that are better for you. But really, it's not like the spiritual police is going to come and shoot you if you don't feel that special click. So, no. I think some people are better suited for one type of religion than others. Doesn't mean that anyone can choose to practice any religion and get something out of it. There are no hard and fast rules here. I hope that answered your questions. And like I've said with these kinds of videos, all I'm saying is just my opinion on it. I'm not some sort of guru or some sort of expert. I'm just blabbering about what I myself believe. So have a great day and blessed be.